Hi, good evening. Welcome to a very special episode of VC Live, where we have a very special guest for a very special occasion. As you may already know, VC Live is a part of Value Co-creators Club, where my partner Mrinalini, Ghadiok and I curate a series of conversations with architects and designers with the main pretext around conscious design. This special season is about smart design, and today's episode is about smart ecological design. Like I said, we have a very special guest with us. We have Palinda Kannangara. Palinda, thank you so much for your time, and thank you so much for joining us. Palinda has a background in mathematics and architecture. He graduated with a BSc in physical sciences in '96 with a specialization in math. But his primary calling, of course, was something else. He joined the study course conducted by the Sri Lankan Institute of Architects in '94. And as a student, Palinda trained under Sri Lankan modernist architect Anura Ranta Vibhushana, who has worked with Jeffrey Bawa for the last 16 years. So there is a 6 degrees of separation there between you and Bawa. And of course, Palinda's firm is world-renowned. It's an award-winning firm known for an experiential architecture that hinges on simplicity and connection with the natural environment. I think we found the ideal guest to talk to us about smart ecological design, where we're talking about material past and future forward. Palinda, once again, thank you so much for your time and thank you so much for being with us today. I'm going to start off very simply. It is commonly understood that in order to design smartly, one needs to employ various tools, various technologies. There is a lot of talk. I mean, there is the synonym synonym for smart design is obviously connected with technology. But I wanted to understand from you, since your architecture design approach is very rooted towards understanding the context, it's very grounded. It is basically understanding where you are building, right? So in your opinion or from your practice, what does smart design mean to you?
Smart designing means that it needs to be a part of the context. So it has to be rooted properly to the ground where it belongs, because that means that you are respond to the context truly. It's not just a fake, because that building rooted properly to the context means that the weather, you respond to the weather properly, and the social responsibility, and again the lifestyle of the people. And when we connect with the whole, it becomes a part of the system, and it's not alien to the place. And that if you respond it truly and properly, that means its building is smart. You don't need to do it by force or anything. It can be ventilation, it can be light and ventilation. So everything has to be, understand the situation of the place. And if you respond with your design, and that becomes like a true design, and then you don't need to add or remove anything. So that's how I believe in, because all my project is trying to be connect with the context or the site, because site is very important. How is the sun path, for example, the orientation is very important, wind pattern is important. Been practicing in like a Sri Lankan country, having a 2 monsoon. So we have to understand the weather report like things properly. So you have to understand the monsoon, where it hits and again the sun path. So when you address all that thing, it becomes a smart. But you mentioned about the tools, those are very important. Again, I'm not an architect who just want to go back again to the past and do only for that kind of a thing, because we have to move on with the technology as well. So we use so many new materials, even the glass to extent, but there are a lot of improved versions. Right. So there are low glass, right. So you reduce the heat. So it can control again the energy and again the sun heat. You sometimes we want to get a frame view, beautiful things, and to see connection to the outside. So sometimes it works to use that. We have to, sometimes the lifts work. So I'm not reject or say negative things about it, but we shouldn't be only design based on the new technology or the tools. So we have to understand the balance between the both.
It's interesting that you say that, because my next question was going to be about how do you strike that balance, right? Because your practice is about respecting and also celebrating indigenous design. Whether it's, you do have projects in India as well, and you do have projects in Sri Lanka and different parts of the world, right? So how do you draw that balance between integrating technology and also, bringing back, if not, the regular practice of, let's say, for instance, you're using a certain kind of material, which needs to be treated in a certain way before you implement it, right? So how do you strike that balance between integrating technology and integrating indigenous technique?
Indigenous techniques is like you have been there for a long centuries or past generations that they have followed traditionally what they have been that works for their context or the place. So that means that is approved, and again its example is already there. Thick walls, sometimes a brick wall but with a double wall. Sometimes it's maybe like a traditional things we have to respect, and we have to understand how they are practiced before, and before you move into the next material or the what is available, and move on with the technologies, again enhance the or the support that values or the traditional rooted designs. So we need to understand the both.
Right.
So we have to select very carefully that it can be the material that supports your design, and then only move on rather than just select the material and trying to do the design. So design is important to understand the how it part of the context, and then find the material that it supports your design. Right. So, and then how you can be adapt to the context, adapt to the climate. Right. For example, if you want to use a concrete is sometimes not a suitable material in the tropics, but if you adapt in a way, in a sandwich, in a double layer, it can be use it in a different manner. Then you have to understand how that concrete not exposed to the weather, it can be interior and again a part of the structure, but then cladded with another envelope, that it can be insulate the concrete. So then you will get answer. So likewise, you need to cleverly find the answers if you have to do that material, but it's not by forcefully you need to have it like that. So so there should be a balance. So always we can understand the balance between the material, new material, or a modern or a smart material with the traditional methods of things.
Speaking of choices of materials, you are an ecological design expert in a way. You're being honest.
I'm not sure.
But do you think that there is a misconception around the use of concrete and the use of glass, especially in tropical, since you mentioned tropical climates, and how you can use sandwich layers, with concrete, and how you can also use that technique to, encourage better ventilation or even better insulation. But do you think there is a misunderstanding when it comes to the use of certain materials like concrete, even steel for that matter, glass, these combination of materials, especially in our climates?
Yeah, misunderstanding only comes when you're trying to do it without understanding how it can be used. If you have a cross ventilation properly, even if there's a steel or a glass or anything, it can be ventilated nicely, because that permanent ventilation is important in a building. And then how you get that cross ventilation moving, and again where you can get the hot air can be trapped, then how you can take it out. So it's a part of the detailing. So then if you have that understanding about how to detail that, but using the material, because we can't avoid glasses, because in the tropics we have a beautiful landscape and we want to frame that thing, we want to enjoy the outside. So the earlier version was just to have veranda, and that still we want to practice. In my practice, I always want to be part of the outside and want to enjoy it, beyond the building limits. And then there's no limit to the building, because it's almost a part of the inside outside. It becomes a exterior and interior. So that is how we
create spaces that will encourage the outdoors to come.
Exactly. But still, we need to provide the security, we need to provide the privacy for the user. We can't just leave it open in a jungle, because then you need to, the security is not there, safety for the client. So by saying that, you need to have a glass or some material, but you can understand where you want to have the frame, that you can reduce the open, then you can not inviting too much light or heat into the building. So most of the, old buildings that you have very small opening, but it's purposely pointed out one direction that you want to focus.
Yeah.
So that helps you to understand how you control your view rather than just to have a glass box or something, because it doesn't have any frame view.
Yeah.
So it's important, and I think it's a duty of the architect to understand. Anyway, all the architects want to do that, how you can, what you see when you're walking from the staircase and at the end result, and how you frame that view, this view.
The
journey is important, exactly.
Yeah. Speaking of, yes, of course, when you're choosing materials and when you're choosing, spaces where you want nature to be a part of the inhabitant space, right? What about things like passive cooling? How do you consider that when you're designing a space, right? Without having to, do you think that by designing a space, whether it's commercial or residential, in a way, you can maybe let go of certain adverse effects of air conditioning, whether it's like whatever CO2 emissions or whatever it is. How do you think about that or address that in your design at all, or is it something that is it's a given to you?
The air condition is, maybe I'm not rejecting, because some conditions have all changed now because of the weather is different from the past. Now you need to have a comfortable space for the client, and sometimes it's a request from the client. So we need to give that. It's not a rejection from my side, but most of the spaces I'm trying to have a passive ventilation and the cross ventilation with that, because it's a saving the energy, because we have to understand what we can give back, without wasting energy. It's not that client can afford that, but we need to understand how we can, as an architect or a person who have a responsibility for society, that not to waste energy, because it's
Do you think that is possible though, given our climates especially? Maybe it could be possible in a tropical climate where you're surrounded by nature. But what about like urban spaces?
It's the
Do you
same,
think it is possible?
because urban situation, what happen is you need to have a little bit of privacy in your case, because you can't open to all sides, because it's very dense and not the same condition where you have a nice environment outside. So then you need to create a courtyards. Sometimes you need to get a cross ventilation through that, and then how you can capture the wind, and that can be a part of the design. So those are the things that which comes when when you are designing an urban situation. And sometimes the client want to have a bedroom with air condition. That's fine, but at the same time you can provide openable glass doors or some sort of shutters that is not designed only for air conditioned space. So in a good weather, because throughout the year you get a good climate and sometimes a warm climate condition. So that time it's only we can use the air condition. So all my design, I'm trying to have sometimes a double shutters, sometimes it's a permanent, like adjustable louvers that you can have when you want to have a air condition, you can shut the doors. But in the normal weather, if the client is okay, you can open out. So then it's provided. Otherwise, it's only for design the air condition. That means that's seal room. So seal rooms is a good design or a smart, or as you said, as you call it. So likewise, that's how I think we should design.
Let's talk about the people you are designing for, right? How has their perception or their view of space, whether again it's residential or commercial, what their needs are, and they are coming to you for a reason. They are coming to you because they understand what you are able to provide for them. But has that need or has that understanding of, okay, you know what? I don't want a glass box. I want something where I can live in a space where I'm able to admire my surroundings and also able to live comfortably. Have you witnessed that change? And what do you think has contributed to that change in the way the client's brief has changed?
I think we have to be example for the client as well, because my work has to reflect their needs, and they have to admire my work. Because that's a part of the architect's role. And again, we as architects, I'm doing the practice almost like 17 years now, with my example or the project that I previously done. And clients has a list of projects that they can recall, and they can say, this is project that I like, and this is the colors or a mood that they want to create. So I think we need to educate the clients, because sometimes the clients comes with a different background and with the packages, and they have their old inputs. But when they listen to you and again your ideas, you have to listen to them first and give them something back that they can enjoy, as well as they can understand what you're talking by example, by giving them the right answers, because then they're believing that. So you need to build that trust with the client, and then the client always recognize that and respect that.
They're able to also see your vision, right?
Absolutely, because you need to set an example for them, not to do whatever they want to do it, because then you're only doing what they request to do. It's not a part of it. So we have to educate and give them something back that you be believing what is right. And we can do that. There's a limitation, but still. And again, when the client coming to you, they know what you're good at it. It's like going to a doctor, then they know what kind of a doctor is he. Then likewise, the architect also has the same kind of understanding what they are doing and what is good at it and all that. So in my clients, actually, I have designed for a very low income level to the high income level. So I wanted to address to any kind of clients, whoever can enjoy my architecture. I'm open to design. There's no any only rich people or any only low income, because we are as an architect has to be contribute to society any level. So sometimes I'll get artists, musicians, and they might be not having enough money, but they have a good taste and a good understanding.
Fantastic projects for musicians.
Thank you so much. I think I want to thank my clients because giving these opportunities, it's really, and again the high end, like extreme levels. So I enjoy doing anything, but giving the right thing. I'm not do the things that I won't enjoy or not, accept my philosophy, because then it's not the right project.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, speaking of designing for people, I also saw the way you designed your studio. It looks like a warm, endearing space. I mean, it looks like a manifestation of who you are as a person. I wanted to ask you from a personal perspective, if you were to build another dwelling for yourself, another home for yourself, right? What would be the most significant or the most salient feature of that space, which you may have integrated in your studio or may have not? But if you had the opportunity to design a space or a building,
it's interesting. It's challenging question as well, because
I wanted to, if I'm doing it, actually purely based on that time or the requirement that in life, that time. So it means that I have evolved with the time. So my needs are different from that time, because that time, that studio didn't design in 2012. So it's almost 10 years ago. So if I'm doing it, I have to think of what is missing and then what I really want in that design. But mostly I want to have more like a convertible spaces, like a multi-purpose kind of space, that not to define in a way that it's a bedroom or a living or something. I might do maybe a smaller than that even. And based on the requirement and what I can enjoy beyond this level, or what my needs are.
I also wanted to ask you, what excites the most about design? Like, you've been practicing for 17 years, and the kind of projects that you do also are quite varied. Like you were saying, I saw the musician's house in the forest. I mean, it looks like a dream project. I want to understand from you, what excites you the most about the way you approach design? What keeps you excited and enthusiastic about design the most?
I think
how I'm trying to understand the context and trying to find a solution from the site, and each solution is different from me. I don't have any pre-decisions or anything that I want to have it like this kind of building or somewhere else, and this is the material that I want to use kind of thing. So every time it's a new. So every time I'm trying to see what is available in that location, what is economical for that project. For example, that Goa project, we're trying to work with this material members that they were using for the shacks, for just to have a construction poles, that is called mundas. So it was like a very, very economical compared to if you want to have a steel timber, like a beams, should have been 3-4 times more than the cost. So it will save like that, and again use a laterite stone for that entirely for the pavers and most of the common areas. So likewise, I'm trying to find a solution that is justified and it's available, and you don't need to find anywhere else to bring, because I always feel as a Sri Lankan architect, our economy is quite poor in the condition, and again economical crisis, and again people don't have money, but still they want to build and enjoy life. They want to way they live, want to improve. We can do it. We still whatever is available, because all my designs based on what is available in Sri Lanka. If you are talking about the frame, that is only out of scaffolding, because they can offer maybe to extend more, but I don't want to invest more on that because it's a weekend home, or like to go on with the daughter there to connect with the village, and it was abandoned for a long time. So that's the idea behind the concept. So when I'm trying to understand my solution, or how you can overcome the situation to lift the building, then scaffolding, why not? So then start designing based on that. So then only the material, it's not a design. I started with the scaffolding to design something. No. Idea is to design something lift above 5 feet. So then I thought of what is the next material that it can be lifted 5 feet. So like that only. So every solution, every design, I started to enjoy that when I'm finding it's all coming. When you have that idea, this is what I want to do it, and then even if you design something, if it not works, I reject that. Because I know, because you are the first person who can criticize your own design. So I always criticize and again thinking, are you doing the right thing? Are you doing then I have a second guess.
And that's the only way, right?
Well, that's the only way. Challenge yourself. Otherwise, you always feel that you are right always. No. So I always challenge myself. No, why you can do better. You can do something else. Why you're doing this? Is the right thing? Then I know that there's something. So always I'm keep on improving myself to the next level. And if I can enjoy the design only, I present to the client. If I'm not happy and if I'm not enjoying my project, that means that there's it's waste of my time, because for another 2-3 years I have to involve with that project.
It's also not sustainable in a way. No. You're not loving what you're
exactly.
You have to keep alteration.
Exactly.
You have to keep altering. You have to keep. You're putting in so much of energy and
and finally you just
really excited about.
Trying to improve it by introducing different material, because it's that wow factor or the punch is not there. When you're designing something, that it's wow, it's coming there.
I also wanted to ask you from a very personal note. I mean, I have been to Sri Lanka, and one of the few places that I visited was Jeffrey Bawa's house, and you have a connection with Bawa.
Indirectly, yes.
Yeah, indirectly. I wanted to understand from you, like, what did you learn from your guru, who's the modernist architect, Anura, and were there any kind of Jeffrey Bawa principles that were passed on from him to you? Just if you can just kind of take us through what were the most important learnings from you.
Actually, Jeffrey Bawa is like a master or guru. So it doesn't need to come under someone, because when you go to one of his building, you trying to connect with that building and gives that energy to it. So I think I have trying to understand his building after I studied architecture, start doing architecture. Then I realized it is beyond that what is beautiful, or what we thought of as a beautiful, because it's a more like a journey, and then it's again a concept as well, that mood what you want to create. So when you have that understanding what the mood he want to create, that he continues with the entirely from the material palette to the color scheme, and then it's how it works, and it's last long for a long like period of time. And again he designed in a way it's weathered already. So you don't need to maintain it. From even it's a brand new building, it will look like a old,
True,
that's beautiful way of living. So you don't need to maintain yourself or to building
timeless
quality. That's the beauty about his buildings. And I always trying to understand what's that project, what is the message he's trying to give, because when you understand that essence of the building, then it's not detailing how the toilet or how it works, because those are anybody can do it. But beyond that, there's a very strong concept in his all design. So I try to understand that. So with my master Andra Ratnabhushan, so that he actually gave me not inside stories, but we always talk about architecture and general stuff, because he works for Bawa, but Bawa never discuss anything. That's what he was saying. He said that Bawa never want to explain any theories or a concept behind what he was doing, but he allows them to walk through the building to understand the building. So he never speaks about his philosophy or anything, because the building has to understand, give back and talk about it. So that's the best way of doing it.
You have to have some communication.
With the building. Building gives you the answer. And then you don't need to say anything. When you walk in, this is what they have tried to do.
And that's I think a nice way to learn. In a way,
exactly.
Because it's also open to interpretation, right? What a building could mean to you would be very different.
It touches your heart, and it gives you that personalized thing. So it's a different message. It's not like somebody trying to explain about the concept. So everybody can absorb in a different way. So it's an interpretation of yourself at what you think. So in that way, I feel that's the best way to do it.
Yeah.
Because I am trying to understand a building where I want to know.
Yeah.
So not that, the other person want to say, this is the concept, this is how it is works kind of thing.
Yeah.
I never look at the building like that. So I have my way of looking at buildings. I absorb the way I want, and I might reuse it in another project, but that's the way I interpreted that space.
Yeah. Just lastly, I wish we could continue. We could stay here forever. But as a final note, if you had to complete the sentence, architecture in the future should be, what comes to mind? What keywords or what phrases come to mind?
In one word, it's not possible anyway. I don't think architecture should be very responsible because we can't say architecture of the future. Yeah, because we have a responsibility. Building has to be very sensitive, and we have to respond to a lot of things. It's not like a past or a history, or because those days is over, because the lifestyle has changed, that now we have to move on with these generations, and then the building has to be adapt to that society. So we always can't say that only the past is best and the future is not good. Mm-hmm. So we have to always have the positive note with the future as well. I always believe in the positive side of it, not negative. I don't call negative at all. I don't want to know about the negatives, because there are so many good things in future and the present as well. Why can't we enjoy that? So, but future architecture, as I said, is a responsibility to build less, build using less material, because that is the responsibility, because the population is growing. We can't accumulate everything what is available. See, even if we have money to buy, we shouldn't. We should leave for the others. So that's a responsibility. So we have to understand and have to be a part of the society, not shouldn't be highlighted. Or I think that's the way to go on with the new, modern or a future. But it's beautiful.
Absolutely. I like how you said that architecture should be responsible, and the first part of our conversation was about being responsive.
Yeah.
Also,
yeah.
So I think
that's
quite
exactly.
poignant. Yeah, and but that's it from me, Palinda. Thank you so much. I think this was really insightful. I have learned a lot from you today. More from your work and more from your ideologies. So thank you so much for your time. And that's it from this episode of VC Live. Join us for the next episode, hopefully very soon. Thank you.
Thank you.